Hello, folks. Welcome back for another episode of what's this called again? It's an episode of I'll think of it in a minute. Nah, I'm just kidding. Welcome to an episode of Our Journeys. We're starting things off with Arrakis, NPO, top 10 player. Ironically, or oddly enough, this is perhaps the most crazy thing I've ever seen. It's not uncommon to see a card that is not in the attributes of the deck you're running as like a one of because you may have pilfered it or whatever. It's an interesting thing to see a three of, or like all three colors, like an entirely different house. It's the House of Ebonheart in an Empire deck. And as many have said before, you know, justice for Honey Badger was also saying justice for Ebonheart Oracle. She's willpower, and yet she has no place in the Ebonheart deck. It does not seem right. But anyway, this is an interesting situation we've come into. We're not even halfway through what would be considered a normal game, you know, of 12 points. Here we are at turn 6. Both players pretty much on fumes. No cards in hand, really. And only one rune broken between the two of them. And top deck mud crab for Arrakis. So it really is going to come down to, I mean, we are in top deck phase already on turn 7, or 8, which is crazy because usually you get to this point if you're up against aggro, but when you're up against aggro, by this point in the game, somebody has at least 3 runes broken. So it's a perplexing scenario we've found ourselves in. And that is probably one of the best pill pulls that NRO Entertainment could have. Ooh, speaking of great cards to have, a nice premium Cloud Rest. Ooh, that's another good one. And really, Arrakis is going to need not that. I was going to say he's going to need either draw or he's going to need a big body. I don't know what his top end is. Empire has some decent options. But this is not it. And just wisely, again, this observe, folks. Observe and pay attention. This is top 10 player. This is what you do. May be tempted. Hey, I've got 12 points of damage on the board. You know, let me go ahead and try to make a push, and then I can close this game out in 2 turns while you're giving your opponent 3 to 4 cards. And you could lose the game just like that. So Arrakis trying to keep his, and that is going to be huge. Well, not as huge because he can't take out. He's hoping to take this guy out, or this gal. The Bannerman. The Bannerman can, cause he mixes it with love and makes the world taste good. Yes, we're very familiar with Isgramor. It's interesting. I don't know where they decided, because we talked last time about what's his face. You know the guy. Yeah, come on, the guy. You know what I'm talking about. Stop messing with me. No, seriously. I can think of his Boromir because that's what I call him, but that's not his name. He's the guy. The 4/5 drain. When you pull for a drain when he's on the board, you get stuff. We're crying out loud. All I can think of is Boromir. That's not his name though. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. If you know the game, you know what I'm talking about. He glows green. His premium, he glows green. Why that? And then Bannerman is glowing red. I don't know. I'm not sure if there's anything. If anybody can. It begins with the B though, doesn't it? His name? Standing by. Wow. Yeah. No, I'm just coming up with a big swing and miss on that. That's going to bother me. You know what? As you know, usually at this point in the video, I have not yet figured out what card I'm going to put behind me for the card review or for the thumbnail. I'm going to put Brynjolf. There it is. Oh, it's the small things in life, folks. The very, very, very small things in life that. Ooh, Mercenary Captain, not bad. Not bad, but that is going to. I mean. That's like, okay, are we going to race? Again, Arrakis is probably not wanting to give him two to three more cards at the same time. No, okay. I was going to say at the same time, you know, your opponent's just going to get stronger in that lane. But yeah, now both of them are playing. Oh, and that's going to do it. But if that could have just come after him, that would have been amazing. Mercenary Captain, you overzealous twit, jumping into his hand early. But that is really what he needed. We're going to be able to punch in, and I'm guessing Protector. Yep. And he might even play him in that. I don't know if he'll replace one of the Mudcrab Merchants with him, just to avoid taking a little bit to the face. Nope. Okay, he's going to keep it in that lane. That does force NRO to either be able to really end this turn, use removal on him, or really you can't keep racing. You can't race when somebody's got Drain on the board and you don't. I mean, you can, but it's not a good idea. So he pokes. There is no finish off Relief Lurker, so doing damage doesn't necessarily do anything to him. The removal that NRO would have is all going to be hard removal, so it would take out a target regardless. Does he have a sword? Oh no, he's going to use all those resources. I mean, he still has 8 Magicka and quite a few cards to play, so he is going to eliminate that threat from Arrakis. But Arrakis does still have lethal in just the field lane. Okay. Alright, that's more resources. And he's got one more Nord Firebrand and Shield Breaker. Okay, so he's going to be able to take out... Oh, interesting. I thought he was going to use that with the other Firebrand to take out the 5/4. So he'll throw down a guard. But it's not big enough to keep the Cloud Rest out, so he's going to put that in there. Okay. Not big enough to keep the Cloud Rest out, so he's going to do 5, and then he just needs to push. I mean, he's got it, I think. Nope, he's one off. So you might see that. Oh, no, okay. Oh, I was going to say, but maybe not break that last one until you have lethal there. But he's far enough ahead that he doesn't have to worry about it, I don't think. She becomes a 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I mean, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Wow, it's going to be close. It's going to be close. Well, maybe not as close. It's maybe not as close as my tone is making it sound. That's 4, 7, 13, 5. Looks like he's going to be, Arrakis is going to be left with 3, best case scenario for NRO, unless that one card we can't see is a... It is not. Okay, I was going to say a Scimitar or something, but Knights of Arrakis. It's interesting to see a top deck duel by turn 7. Laughy face. Okay. Now we got Aros. Aros NPO. Good old Aros. As I've said many, many times, and I will continue to say anytime I can remember, Aros is usually streaming on Twitch. In fact, he's there right now. I'm almost certain of it. If he's playing, he's streaming. And so you can check him out for high-end gameplay, deck building ideas. I'm guessing some deck building criticism. I think if you were to shoot him a deck list, he is of the mind and the persuasion, especially if you're new or you're just really just there to learn, that he will take a gander at it and maybe give you some quick tips or pointers on it. Don't hold me to that. I know he's of the disposition to teach, but I don't know that he would take live requests like that. But it's worth a shot if you have a mind to check that out. But yeah, I think it's just Andy. Oh no, maybe it's just aros.npo at Twitch, on Twitch. So we'll see how he does against Slain. As you can see, Aros is in the Stay Puft Atronach, but his opponent is already in the Hallowed Halls of the Legendary in the top 50. In the top 40, but I try to stop saying that. Like, I want to keep it top 50, top 25, maybe top 20, and then top 10. Because when you say like top 42 or top whatever, it's like, okay, we get it. You know, he's doing very well, but he's not necessarily top 50. So top 40 is fitting, but I feel like you're just diminishing it. So saying top 50 sounds good. It's fine enough. But that does mean that Aros is up against a formidable foe who just happens to have gained a little more egress into the legendary ranks than Aros has at this particular moment. But definitely it's at a mid-range scout we're looking at. He thinks that is the case up against Aros's. And you know what? There's Stone's Throw, probably a one of in that deck. That and Child Ever Seen. I mean, he's got, with Unstoppable Rage, he's got some really good stuff, but Slain is going to try to perforate him before he can do anything with it. Are we going to see a Riftane Ring out here? We are. But not in the lane I expected. Interesting. Unfortunately, that Stone's Throw is not going to do much good right now. Nope, he needs a 5 cost, 5 strength creature to fell that foe. So I'm guessing the only play really here, I think, is ring out Child Ever Seen, because his bodies are very petite. And I mean, and honestly, you know you're going to be giving your opponent cards, so you might as well, like with the 4/6, the kitty cat, he's going to slay. He's going to get you at least one card, so you might as well just go ahead and give him, like, try to fill his hand. Just be like, all right, fine, here's a bunch of cards, like. And the only downside, you know, he had to use that last ring charge just because his curve is kind of janky here. So he's really had to use the ring to compensate for what I would consider to be a pretty rough starting hand. And the only good news is, okay, that's actually still good news. If he stays alive, he can still Stone Throw either of those with his Mighty 6. Again, as long as he stays on the board. Face me and die. So the question is, does he Stone's Throw the 4/3 or the 5/5? Still 2 points, two away from a Unstoppable Rage that would win him the game in one fell swoop, unfortunately. I mean, resources is king. Oh, never mind. Never mind. I thought he might Stone Throw and then... Oh, look at that. Look at him. He's like, I don't go for it, man. I guess once you realize, like, you're not going to out resource your opponent, you're just like, all right, I'm on the aggressive now. So Slain is going to have to... I mean, he can still do 9 damage. Ooh, that seems a little dirty. A little dirty. Coming out as all aggressive and whatnot, and you've got an amulet. For shame, sir, for shame. There's really no shame in it at all. It's just not something I would have expected. I'm not sure Aros would have expected it either. Based on, I mean, for Scout, absolutely. I fully expect something like that with Scout, but I don't expect it with, and I mean, but Aros has lethal here. He just has to do it. He's got 6, so he does have to break a rune, unfortunately, because he does not have 4. Oh, he does. Never mind. Well, he doesn't have 4 and then 6. He's got 5 and then 4. So, all right, and Stone Throw good, doesn't need it, and nicely done, Aros. Our friends are on fire today, folks. 2 for 2 in some pretty well contested games. I'm just asking if Aros saw that amulet coming based on the way he was playing the deck and what the composition seemed to be mid-range. I just did not expect it. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. A cheap weapon of surprise. Surprise and fear are two weapons of fear, surprise, ruthless efficiency, and almost fanatical devotion to the Pope. Amongst our weaponry. We're coming again. Sorry, I have Monty Python Tourette's. Something I acquired in my days of theater back in high school. And so Arrakis, I mean, look at this, forfeit UESP with a slave ship, prison ship, sorry. And point to all of Spike's prophecy. And what is this? Defense. No, are you kidding me? Is forfeit actually running a defense training grounds? Are we going to see nothing but defensive cards? Okay, so A-Ross said he didn't see it either. Wow, I don't think I mean. Let's see. Oof. So fabricant wouldn't count. Okay. Oh. No. I was watching you. I just didn't expect to see Amulet in what was apparently a mid-range scout with aggressive tendencies. All right. So just probably the darn quirkiest. I mean, Baldric as mentioned. Baldric and who was it? Edmorn, I believe, have been talking about wanted to try. Oh, Edmorn, yeah, Edmorn was saying wanted to try like mammoth, like a mammoth tribal deck kind of thing. Baldric with wolves and there was one other one where it was just trying to make a tribal deck from another one that is very, very obscure. But I don't think anybody has ever tried a defensive deck. I mean, and clearly that's not what we have here. We've got there's a myriad of different things, but we have a training grounds. And what is it? Top creature of your deck. So I mean, it can apply to several different cards, but you don't want to have too many of different ones. Otherwise, I mean, worst case scenario, they're alternating types, and so you never get a buff because it never matches the one you draw. It never matches the top deck. So it looked like initially it was going to be, but I was like, how many defensive cards are there that can actually be buffed? Like where it's actually got a body. Oh, wow. That's excessive violence to crabs. Unfortunately for him, Arrakis has the Cliff Racer. That's the first time I've heard and seen this little turd muffin of a card where I've actually have not been just inside. So, yay for Cliff Racers and Arrakis' second win. Interesting. Have seen. So Eros is saying he was expecting a sanctuary more than anything else. Oh wait. Yep. No. That's exactly. Because it's the sleigh thing. Exactly. Head scratcher. But left his face wide open. And we'll get practice. Nice. All right. So we're going back to Eros. Wait, we just finished Eros, didn't we? No, we didn't. We just finished Arrakis. So Dan Hep 74, the Usurper, against Eros in a attribute mirror match, but certainly not a compositional mirror match. Dan Hep is using Crusader, support Crusader, I guess. Support Satyr. Crewport. Crusader support. Crewport. Yes. Crewport. But hopefully we'll get to see with his belly G's, and we know this deck, if it's the same one as before, he's running the aspect of Ursine, or aspect is the charge. What am I talking about? It's the other Ursine, child of Ursine. So you got a bunch of little tokeny guys, and you got Belligerent Giant or Child of Ursine and Unstoppable Rage, and let the good times roll, my friends. Let the good times roll. But right now, he is looking pretty rough. He could ring out Wilds Incarnate, protect his face from that Shadow Lane, and draw himself a card. And it looks like that's what he's going to do. Could have been better, could have been worse. Another Supreme Dragon, another Belly G. So, I mean, the good news is these are the kind of cards you want to see late game. They're probably, most of them are a turn early. I mean, he's been sitting on that Supreme Dragon. I mean, look at that. You can see them. They're like lined up right next to each other. Supreme Belly G, Supreme Belly G. Apparently, these guys are pals. And so when they hang out like pals. So they're together. It's a Supreme Dragon and a Belly G. Unlikely companions, unlikely friends, finding their way through this crazy world of Tamriel. Through 2 prophecies and a prison. Oh. Okay, I gotta say, that is not as intimidating as they probably want it to sound. Rawr. Like it's almost like he said rar. Like if you're reading in a comic and it's like rar, it should be rar, you know, something a little more less consonant-y. Like, you know, it was like rar. It's like RR. Like you should not be able to easily spell the sound that is made. Onomatopoeia should not be easy to spell. If you can spell it, they didn't do it right. So rar, R-A-H-R. That's exactly what it sounds like. It should be rar. Like how would you spell that, my friends? See? It would be impossible. That is how you rar. You don't go rar. That would be literally if Wolverine jumped out and went snicked. It's like, well, no, that's not the sound. It's not literally SNNNKT. It's you know, some. Okay, this is devolving. Hate when it happens. Like sometimes you just start talking, you just hope that your mouth does cool things and says cool things, and you just don't really engage your brain all that much. Not that I do that here, folks. Not that I do that here. I'm always engaged. I'm always thinking, always trying to come up with the exact right things to say at the right time. But sometimes, on occasion, see, this is one of those times I'm let my mouth just start going, and it's not doing anything great. So no Unstoppable Rage, and that's the 3rd Cloud Rest prophecy we've seen from Eros, which is great. But again, what he really wants to see here is a Rage. Oh no! I was so wrong. I mean, not really. Like, he needed that this turn. And I mean, it wasn't a game winner because it's not a Belly G, it's the Supreme Dragon. But oh, that sucketh. That really sucketh. I think we're going to have to... Oh, gosh. So maybe Belly G in the field lane to get the 3-2 off of the board, because she can really... Well, I mean, right now he's just got to hope that Dan doesn't have Divine Fervor. If he does, the game's over. But I think... Interesting. Okay. He's got something up his sleeve. No doubt, folks. No doubt. Okay, maybe not. Maybe he was reaching into his sleeve for something and didn't find it. It's like, dang it, it's not in my sleeve. I can't believe that the rage would... I mean, well, let's see. He would have still taken 9. Oh, there's another one. Okay. Well, again, he can't... Oh, stone throw. Yes, okay, there we go. He's looking good. He's looking okay. And if Dan Hep does not... Oof. I forgot about that other one. Ooh. I mean, they're all a bunch of 2-drops. Not really all that helpful. Probably in the field lane. Well, okay, yeah, I guess if he had Breakthrough, he'd want to do field lane. But since he doesn't have Breakthrough on the Dragon. Can he play anything with Rage? He cannot. It's going to be Rage or nothing. And he's got the Divine Fervor. So perhaps it was a moot point. Oh, jeez. All right, well, I mean, yeah, the rage would have been great, but he still has it. Oh, no, okay. I mean, he's not dead, but he would have needed a Cloud Rest Prophecy on that one to get him out of this. And it's not there. Boy, that hurts. And he has his own defensive Bruma, but just no board to play it on. All those Belly G. Yeah, I think, I mean, the Supreme Belly G kerfuffle. I mean, his hand was blocked up. 4 of his cards, 2 of his early game cards, and then 2 of his mid-range cards, all were 6 and 7 drop. I mean, and it's fine if you're kind of in a top deck war, but if you're needing to fill your board, especially against a bunch of little turd muffins like that, you need to be able to put down a few bodies. You know, defensive Bruma is there to boost up an existing board, not just one creature. So, and the problem here, Aros takes, if 2 creatures are left on the board, even if he's got a guard, the Rimmen Siege Weapon will deal the fatal blow, unless he kills the Siege Weapon. That was rough. Could not believe it. So yeah, the Unstoppable Rage was exactly what you wanted to see, but not when it gets busted up. Let's see what Araka said. Through 2 prophecies and a prison ship, I alone am the victorious one. This episode is sponsored in small part by Legendary Remnant Discord. If you are excited about TESL, you want to talk about TESL, maybe you're new to TESL or you're just new to the community, come check out the Legendary Remnant Discord, where you will find people of like mind, at least insofar as they love the game and want to talk about it. And everybody there, I can say so far, at least that I know of, loves the game. May not have a lot of adulation for it at all times. It gets pretty raw and pretty real on the Legendary Remnant Discord, but that's part of what makes it so gosh darn legendary. When you are a remnant, things aren't always peachy keen, but we are there supporting each other and encouraging each other and cranking out a great number of custom card ideas, like the one we're going to see here today from Beaterus, who is the true sponsor of today's video. This is Ice Form. This is from the Shout upgrade and creation series we've been doing. I think there's about 25 of them in total. We've got, I think, 8 left or 7 left after this. So we are making headway on it, but it's called Ice Form. As I said, it is in intelligence. Right now there's the 1 shout in intelligence. Obviously this would be the 3rd one now, I think, because we did just have one. I cannot remember now the coloring of it, but it was another kind of freeze themed shout. But anyway, this one, Ice Form, shout level 1, which, by the way, let's go ahead and look at the card art. It's very funny because I literally just watched Rocky 1 for the first time in probably a decade last night. I crap you not. And so when I looked, I'm thinking to myself, I was like, oh, I'm seeing Rocky everywhere. Like, why would Rocky be in TESL? But sure enough, that is Rocky Balboa encased in carbonite. So somehow he's here. Hey, Adrian, I'm in Skyrim. Anyway, deal 1 damage. Level 1, deal 1 damage to a creature and shackle it. Level 2, deal 3 damage to a creature and shackle it for 2 turns. And finally, level 3, deal 5 damage to a creature and shackle it for 3 turns. So we have not only an increase of the damage that is done, but also a increase in the shackle duration. So first one, it's shackled for a turn with 1 damage. So considerably underpowered, I would say. You've got the 0 cost Paralyze, which shackles for a turn. Mage Trick is a 3 cost, but it also draws you a card, does 1 damage, but also gains 1 health. So this is very low stats for the cost that you're getting. 3 damage for a 3 cost and a 2-turn shackle. That's average to pretty darn good. Again, remember, these are not giving you a body, so there are some comparable cards. Sorry, just making sure. Okay. There are some comparable cards that do similar things, but they also put a body on the board, whether it be a 2/3 or or an item like in the Mace of Encumbrance. This is not doing any of that. It is literally just giving you the effect. So that's always something to keep in mind. There are cards that do similar things, but they almost always put a body on the board, and that's part of what you're paying for. So I would say probably comparable. Now we do get a significant bump here. Now you're doing 5 damage and you're shackling it for 3 turns. Oh, and that also, of course, as I said, was a shackle for 2 turns. Which, here's the thing: if you have a way to free your own shackled creature, whether it's a Dres Renegade or a Silence Mute type thing, the amount of time that it can be shackled is irrelevant, because once you've unshackled it, it's unshackled and it can do its thing. Otherwise, it's an interesting, it changes the nature of the game, because now you have a card on the board that is going to become unshackled in a certain amount of time. So you can't just leave it alone. It gives you time to figure out how to deal with it. But you got to remember that maybe in your mind, you're thinking, okay, I'll do X and Y, Z to it on the next turn. And then your opponent plays another creature that now either requires your removal, or it requires you to expend resources on that, or your opponent removes your body from the board that you were going to use to attack that one. So even though I would say the shackle is not, being able to shackle for 2 or 3 turns, it's a nice effect, it's a good effect, and it's a fresh-ish effect to have a duration longer than 1 turn for a shackle. But if you're the one playing it, and this, to be fair, this is Battle Mage colors, so you could, in theory, I was going to say you could play it in an aggressive deck, but only for the tier 3. Maybe the tier 2, because ideally, if your opponent's playing in Drain and you want to shackle it down, it's like, I don't care if you can get unshackled in 2 turns, the game's going to be over by then. That's really the only time that I can think a longer duration shackle is going to be beneficial, because otherwise all you're doing is you've got a time bomb there. And if you don't address it when you can, or on that turn, you run the risk of that thing slithering out and doing some damage to your face. So, or screwing up your trade. So, I don't know that the duration, like I said, it's cool. It adds a layer to the card, and obviously Ice Form, you're shackled there. Although I would argue once you go into Ice Form, you're not getting unshackled. Like, that is no longer the corporal form of Rocky. That is an ice sculpture, and if he thaws out, he's gonna melt. So, there's danger lurks in the defrosting process. But barring that, I think it's a good effect. And I think cost-wise, 5 damage. That's the thing, though. You're supposed to get some good value out of the 3rd tier, as we've said many times. And a 3 cost 5 damage isn't bad. And shackle the creature for 3 turns. Which I guess, that would be good against something like Odaving. Because usually, it seems like, especially to 3 cost, you could be very easily doing 5 damage to creatures that don't have that much health. So either you're hitting a ward, which is kind of a bummer, or you are or you're dealing 5 damage to a creature and it's done, and then that shackle for 3 turns doesn't even happen. What would be kind of interesting to play with Dres Tormentor is deal 5 damage. Now, this doesn't work with the card, because when you talk about Ice Form, you talk about freezing. It's not like they're going to defrost and refreeze every turn, but it would be kind of fun if it was a reshackle it each turn for those 3 turns, meaning at the start of the turn, the shackle reforms, and if you have a Dres Torment on the board, it does another 3 damage to it. But again, you have to have some really big bodies on the board to be able to stand that kind of damage and still be there and shackled. So good effect. I don't know, and I think pricing, I think everything looks pretty kosher from my side, but only because the downside is I think the long duration for shackling beyond that first turn isn't really as it changes things, and it does, even if it's just for 1 turn. A Dres Tormentor or any dragon that does whatever effect upon shackle, like those types of things, it is going to snowball a little bit there. But like I said, most creatures, a lot of the creatures I'm thinking of, the 5 damage is going to be well enough to take them away. And if they're bigger than that, you don't want an Odaving hanging around for 2 turns. It may be long enough if you're an aggro or a mid-range deck, mid-grow or something, but a lot of those decks are running Dark Rebirths, they're running Debase Experiments, they're running lots of things. So you don't want to leave those big creatures on the board. Elite Guardians, you don't want to leave them on the board for too long, because they just get replicated and all crazy things happen. So a lot to think about, a lot to process. It would be a card that I'd be comfortable spitting out into the ether. That doesn't sound favorable. What I mean is playing it or allowing it into circulation as it is, and then kind of reevaluate it after some play testing. But I think you can work it as. I don't know how popular it would be, but in terms of like how much it would be used in these decks. But because that's one thing you also have to remember. These are competing against other shouts. You can only run a certain amount of cards in your each deck. And so unless you're running like a shackle oriented deck, in which case, this is the second tier or second deal of second shout that deals with shackling creatures. I think we need one more card that actually does damage. We have Deal to Heal, you have Ring of Namira, and you have other cards where when you do damage, or when you gain health, you do damage. I think we need more than just Dre's Tormentor to do damage. And we do have a couple dragons, I think, or one of the dragons. I think it's a 4 or 5 dragon deals damage to 2 creatures. Or no, I think maybe it shackles creatures that were damaged by dragons. There is another one that factors damage in with shackling, but without that, or without those 2 cards, shackling is just prolonging the inevitable, which again, against certain decks is all you need. If you only need 2 or 3 turns. Giant Snake has won me a really close game at one point, just because my opponent had built up 1 lane and he had lethal in it, but I was able to shackle it for 2 turns. I had 2 snakes, and I was able to win the game just because I was able to hit and he couldn't. So shackle is not inconsequential, but a single target shackle that has more than 5 health, and you also have to watch out for rage, because I was thinking Child Ever Seen, you could do 5 damage to that. It's still going to survive as the 6/2. You got to shackle down. But if you leave it there, you get an unstoppable rage in 2 turns and you're donezo. So you still need to find out ways to deal with those in a relatively quick time to avoid the time bomb going off. You don't want to be blindsided by a card that's been shackled for a couple turns, and then poof, there it is. And we do. There are some cards that are permanently shackled. We know that. Arrest, I think. So you, as a player, you have to just remember, okay, my card's been shackled for 2 turns. It is not, wait, no, because Arrest takes the card and shackles it. Never mind. Forget what I said. Let's get back to those games. So, Beatrice, thank you so much for another card, yet another shout to jog our minds, to fascinate us. Thank you for the homage to Rocky Balboa. And let's get back to those games. So we'll go with Arrakis. So luckily, these aces, Arrakis and Aros, are single-handedly, well, I guess double-handedly, each single-handedly, but with their single hands combining, creating 2 hands, one of each. For me, they're saving me the indignity of having to play right now. Although, as I said, like, if worse came to it, if everybody stopped playing, I would build my Blood Dragon deck that I talked about before. If you haven't seen that video, it was the last one. I can't justify saying go watch the video. All I said was, I saw a Blood Dragon and it makes me want to play the game again a little bit. So already Arrakis getting the business from that most annoying of cards, the Cruel Fire Bloom. And I hate it because, 2 separate thoughts. I don't like it. Well, I mean, I can say hate it because we're talking about cards. I hate it because it is a cruel card. It's cruel on the face of it. It's cruel as an idea, as that you would torch one of your own creatures in order to benefit from their death, but also the absolute cruelty of a 0-cost card that can deal 5 damage when you have a plethora of cards in your Telvanni deck that actually benefit from getting nuked. It's not like the idea of a Cruel Fire Bloom, my understanding of it, especially as a 0-cost, is the only good news is that he's burned out of them. But the idea being you have to sacrifice something of value in order to do random damage. But when you've only got 1 creature on the board, it's not random anymore, is it? And if you're nuking your Telvanni Catspaw, it's actually to your betterment. Not only because was she a 3-cost? I think she's a 3-cost. You're nuking a 3-cost. For the cost of 3, you are getting, she draws a card when she dies. So for the cost of 3, you're getting 2 cards and the removal of up to a 5 powered creature. Ooh, and he breaks a rune, first rune prophecy against Legendary Mage and a Lightning Bolto and the 5th Legion trainer, who I think we can all agree, as I said before, should not be training soldiers as she holds the sword by the blade. To her credit, the hilt of the sword, I'm getting my things wrong. Pommel? I think it's hilt. Does have a pointy edge at the end. So if you say aim the pointy end at your opponent, she is not technically wrong. Said, screw you, I don't care. Well, I guess that makes sense. I've gotten so used to seeing the opponent's race that that I expected. Oof, Rasm gets bit by a snake. What? Really? What? That comes a little bit of surprise. Could very well have been a personal issue. Sometimes I know I've had to concede early on games just because I run out of time. All right, well, I guess we'll jump in with Eros. So hopefully we didn't lose Arrakis to some illness or ailment. And we'll be able to join with him after this game. Brought to you by Eros, who is, as he says, a hero of the people. But really, I mean, we're just seeing, I guess it makes sense. So you got this is the second legendary guy. We got the first one was rank 46 or 36. And it's Halorus. And I thought that was another Cloud Rest. Oreo Cookie Gal instead, though, who is just as good, if not better, actually, in this situation. So Eros' prophecy game is on point. I remember talking with him, I think it was last week. And I was like, hey, Ross, you need to work on your... There he is, Brynwolf. That's the guy. That's him right there. Boromir Brynwolf. That's him. But he glows green when he's in premium. That was what I was doing. But yeah. So yeah, you've seen him in the thumbnail, and you're gonna see him, or have seen him, in the card review. Good old Brynwolf. And there, Eros putting that is peak Stone's Throw value right there. Temporary buff that lasts for one turn, but it's just enough to make her big enough to squish Brynwolf. But yeah, this is the second legendary player that we've seen be very aggressive, and Eros really just being on the back foot for a lot of it. So hopefully we're going to see him stabilize. He can't Javelin and put down a Protector. Unfortunately, okay, that's even better. That is even better, and just like that, Eros is only 2 down point-wise. He does have an extra. He's 1 point or 2 points and 1 rune break away from being tied with his opponent. She's probably going to eat another one of those, or finish off her Leaf Lurker. Leaf Lurker probably, because the 4/3 body. Why wouldn't your opponent have that at this point in the game, right? Okay, well, clearly not. So still looking for a finish off, I'm guessing. Good news is Cradle Crush is going to clean up that field lane really nice. Please. Oh, really, really nice. Okay, so Eros does lose the buffed up Oreo Cookie Gal with the Dawnbreaker, but Cradle Crush is the answer, and it is brutal. He seems to say, which actually means, hey, you trespassers, get off my field lane. I was wondering if he might do that. I forgot about that. Fear told him actually decreases the cost. I was like, well, maybe he may not want to pull it back and have to play it again. But against these little minions now, there's a bit of a head game, because now his opponent knows he's got a 3 cost Cradle Crush. He can't load up one lane with skinny little creatures. He's either got to play some big bodies, or he has to spread them up, which looks like that's what he's doing now, because he knows it would just be absolutely futile. So sometimes having your opponent know what card you have in your hand, or at least one of the cards in your hand, is actually beneficial to your gameplay, because now they just have to eye that and just go, I know that's going to come down at some point. So yeah, there we go. Splitting the lane, as you got to do it. Now, granted, didn't really need to do any of that, because one Cradle Crush isn't going to get that done. But Mulamir, well, he would be awesome, but yeah, you kind of want to get those, but you don't. It's rough. It's rough because you can't kill the I'll kick your ash can guy, Ashlander. Ooh, he's setting up for the Mulamir breakthrough. Oh, what a play this could be. Oh, what a play. Oh, don't tease me like that, A-Ross. Come on. I mean, it's a long shot and a half, but by gum, that is the jam, right? Well, I guess maybe he's holding on to that for turn 12. Okay, never mind. I don't think he's got more than one of those either. I mean, that's a good one. And hopefully his opponent doesn't see the risk, because next turn Mulamir is an OTK almost guaranteed if 4-2 sticks. And his ridiculous hair. Tell me this guy does not have the most ridiculous. He's got these little, he's got the hair parted in the middle, got this little bangs. It's not all the way. The face isn't bad. He's got the facial hair, he's got the face paint and the body. Yeah, I don't want to come across him. But then I see his little wisps of hair and I'm like, okay, you're kind of silly. Put on a helmet. There are really cool helmets in Skyrim. You got the one with the little horns and the little eye stuff. Put on one of those helmets. Get your ash can out of here. Nobody likes your ash can. Things are tense here. I don't know. 9 magicka, 1 curse. I feel like he's got to know to get rid of that 4-2. What is his name again? I want to call him that. Berserker of the Pale. Berserker of the Pale, really? Okay. The Berserker of the Pale with a tan. I think that he would be a lot more fitting if he was kind of pasty. Then again, I think all Nords should be kind of pasty. I mean, they live in the winter. Although that is... Oh, come on. Let's see it. No! You suck. Spoil the fun. I mean, if he had... I mean, seriously, did it really take you that long to figure that out? I don't know. That seems a little shady to me, but whatever. I mean, the good news is Mulamir can clean up 8 damage. No, he can't, because he can only take 8. Ah, that would have been so sweet. Would have been so sweet. No rage. That would have also been great. So A-Ross has a lot of options here. I mean, he could do it, but he does a lot, which is play something very quickly before I can finish talking. But I mean, with the Broom of Profiteer and Golden Initiate, you have a chance to... I mean, the bottom line is he's got to get a lot of damage off the board. He can get... by him, with Mulamir, he can get... Not a lot. Yeah. Mulamir is not the answer, unfortunately. Cradle Crush is also not the answer, though. Also, unfortunately. He may not have any answers. He may not have enough answers. Well, Fighters Guild, when she gets a battle a creature, is that it? So she will actually allow him to do... Yeah, we might see... Yep. Okay. Nope.
Preparations have been made.
Into Cradle Crush. That still leaves 7 on the board. Okay. Well, no, wait. Oh, dude, I was going to say, gotta move quick. And that's... Is that game? 7, 8, 9.
Mistakes were made.
Oh, yeah, that was rough. Ah, that Cradle Crush, man. Again... I mean, it sucked that it took that long. It took that long for the Cradle Crush to come out. But I mean, hey, we don't know what cards he had in his hand, and it could have just been maybe there were actually other options that would have made more sense. But yeah, Berserker of the Pale. That would have been a sweet. I don't think I've seen a Berserker of the Pale Mulamir OTK once. It would have been nice to see it again. But unfortunately, Rump and Rufus and Beaterus. Okay, let's go with Rump and Rufus here first. Let's take a gander at Rump and Rufus. You gotta go. I mean, Beaterus is a fine name, but Rump and Rufus is just fun to say. The alliteration, Rumpin' Rufus. I mean, come on, Rump and Rufus. It's great. Running Flesh Sculpture, Fabricate. And just so you know, he's not a creator. If you're not familiar with Rump and Rufus, he does have a YouTube channel. And I believe it is actually his name, Rump and Rufus. And you know, a lot of, from what I understand, a lot of the decks that he plays are taken on by some high level players and used in their crusades. So yeah, so if you see a deck by Rump and Rufus, more than likely it is highly efficient, despite what you may think. So you may look and go, Flesh Sculpture, what? Fabricants, what? But he is Rump and Rufus. And he has the heart of the cards. And in this particular matchup, for no particular reason whatsoever, I am rooting for him even stronger than I would normal. But has nothing to do with
Great shall be your reward.
the type of deck that we're seeing. For as many decks as I've seen, invade decks, Mankar, I almost never see him. I'm not assuming they don't run him, but he doesn't show up very often, which is very strange because, I mean, for what he does, it really is not too bad. If you're running an invade deck, you want to have him in here. I think he would be an auto include as long as you run in the colors, but for whatever reason, like I said, either he's really, really shy or invade players completely have missed out on that guy. But it punishes you for attacking the gate. That's one of the biggest things. So now you have to take it, but it gives it teeth. Like this kitty has claws. Here. See? All right, so Rumpin hoping that gate does not get buffed too much and his 5/5 can handle it. He can throw a little steel dagger on it, make it a 6. But I think it's 2? He only needs 2 invades in order to get that beyond the reach of his current. Well, then that's. And once again, going to the... Oh, it was not... Yeah, it was just 1. Only need to invade once to put it out of reach. But fortunately for Rumpin, he no longer has to worry about a gate with teeth, but it's also a very buff gate, and everything coming down now is going to start cranking out little Dagoth Urs. Well, quasi Dagoth Urs. They're not getting all the keywords just yet, but they're very close. But that is kind of the bummer. It's like, hey, if you want to remove my creature, fine. You want to remove my creature and invade? That just doesn't seem very fair. Like if we were doing custom cards, as we do with these videos, and it was sponsored by a card that allowed you to invade and tell me that's not a prophecy too. Okay. Invade and remove a creature. At 6? 7. At the very least, that's a 7. Because yes, it's essentially a javelin with invade, but being able to invade and remove, I think that should be worth at least 2. I am biased, but I think I'm still fair. So the question now is, can Rufus find a way to get to that gate? Because right now, guards with ward are like a worst nightmare. Without removal, hard removal, which he may have a Fel the Mighty, which would be good. But a drive mad against ward, no, obviously not great. He's throwing down these big old fabricant bodies. Now, lethal is great in general, not so much here, just because. Well, it is if he can get. No, it's a rough spot for Rumpin. Just got a lot rougher. At least he couldn't invade when he played that card.
You will die in my hand, unbeliever.
Oh, I believe you're a turd muff. Oh my gosh, and the Grummites. Rumpin, you troll. But notice, it is Flesh Sculpture, which, if I'm not mistaken, it transforms all the cards in your hand. Oh, each card in your hand, yep, into a random card. So he may have to whip out the Flesh Sculpture at this point. Because his little fabricant is not going to be able to... Okay, interesting. Nice. That's the stuff. And I wonder if that is actually... Oh, right, okay, you don't have to use it. It doesn't do it automatically. You have to tap that. So that's a good one. As long as Martis has run out of removal, that should put Rumpin in a decent position here, because Martin is well. I was going to say Martis is running out of cards, but not when you have cards that replace themselves. That's not what we want to see. Okay, you know what? Demented Grumite. Honestly, I mean, is there any other kind of Grumite? Really? I mean, if we want to be fair about it, if we want to be realistic, they're all demented grummites. So just call them grummite. And aren't they all manic, really? We just call them grummites. I see a problem here with the naming, but I stand by my thing. I mean, I really, do we need to give them red eyes? Do we need to give the deformed, goofus-looking... I mean, they look bad, and I mean, look at this. Come on. Like, I mean, like, what are the voice lines for this? Yay! I'm thinking like Homer. That didn't sound... Oh, my gosh. They were a merry distraction, making me forget who our friend is facing off against. All right, so Candle Hearth, fortunately, is going to be just enough. Or, I was going to say Sentimental Reclaimer. Sentinel Reclaimer. I guess it might be even old. Like, no, there's definitely, I don't. Any voice line you could do for a Grummite is not going to be flattering. We'll put it that way. I'm glad they're not in Skyrim. A lot of times I feel like I'm missing out by not playing some of the earlier games. I'm like, whatever game Grummites are from, I'm just glad I don't have to look at them. Like, I don't even want to kill them. I don't want to face off against them. I don't know why I seem like I'm hating on them so much. It's like they just went out of the way to make them. It's like I think I mentioned this somewhere. Where did I talk about this? Oh no, it was actually in an email to a friend. But I was talking about how even if, oh God, I gave him a workshop. Even if I see a secret, like let's say I'm in a boat in the middle of the ocean, right? And we're in a boat, and I get off and I got my little snorkel on and my mask and stuff. I'm just gonna look under the water. Even if it's a whale shark, which is about the size of a school bus, but it's harmless. It eats plankton. It's not anything. It doesn't even nibble on people. I don't even think it can, the way its mouth is. But it's a whale shark. I would not want to. That would freak me the heck out. Seeing a massive body that big moving in the gloom of the water, I would wet my pants. Even though it's not harmful. And I was just talking about how everything in the water pretty much looks demonic. I mean, great white sharks with their dog's eyes and their giant mouths with 2 rows of serrated teeth. I mean, you see that when those things bite down, it's the mouth opens and then it starts to close, and there's like a secondary set of jaws that comes down and like grabs, and then the whole mouth closes over. It's horrible. They're terrifying looking things. Just absolutely atrocious. But getting up to my point here, so a lot of cards and a lot of creatures in Skyrim, they're like great white sharks. They're like whale sharks, or giant squids. Those things are nightmare fuel, and they're huge. I remember I got nightmares from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. You all know that movie. I think it's from the 60s, 50s or 60s. It was a Disney movie, but back when Disney did, imaginative and really creative things. And there's a battle with a giant squid, and it's pretty darn terrifying. Now, as an adult, I'm not terrified of it, but it still looks pretty good. They when they did a reshoot, initially they did it. The squid looked very reddish, pinkish, and they did it like during a sunset, and so it looks very much like a matte painting of a sunset. And because it was just a clear night or a clear evening, you could see, and the tentacles are doing this thing, and it just looked really, really bad. But they did a reshoot. They shot it at night during a rainstorm. And they darkened the skin of the squid to look like a very dark red, dark crimson, deep crimson, blackish color. And it turned out really well. But again, and so even out of water, creatures like squids and great whites are pretty nasty looking, even before decomposition sets in. But, so that's kind of the norm. That's what some of the monsters in Skyrim are like. Like, okay, they're kind of creepy, they're kind of scary looking. I get it. The anglerfish. Look it up. If you haven't seen the anglerfish, look at that thing. It looks, if you could manifest a demon that's a little waterlogged, it would look like a freaking anglerfish. The things are nasty looking. They got these dead eyes, not doll's eyes. Like, they're open. They're just dead eyes. Giant mouth with long teeth. I mean, long teeth. I was going to say serrated, but they're not serrated. They're just straight, just long teeth. They look like something out of the depths of hell. Like if you were trying to convince somebody that hell is a literal place that exists somewhere in the middle of the world, like underground, it would be, behold the anglerfish that is so close to hell that it is manifesting some of its most nefarious denizens. And that's what grummites are, folks. Grummites are the anglerfish of TESL. I realize it took me about 25 minutes and about 3,000 words to say all that for almost no purpose. But the happy news is that after a prolonged engagement, it does look like Rumpin is in a pretty good position. He's got his belly G where he can get rid of some stuff if it comes down again. He can Cradle Crush in that field lane. Never mind. Why would that be your command?
Behold my magnificent monster.
Hear my command and writhe. I'm guessing that's like 3 commands. So hear my command is a command. Writhe is a command. And then in theory, he's going to be issuing a 3rd command. That's a lot to ask for an undead minion. And look at this poor guy. He doesn't even have the glowy eyes. We talked about this before. If you're gonna be undead, you have to have the glowy eyes. If you don't have the glowy eyes, you look like you're not really trying. You don't look like you fully committed to the bit. You're not really trying to kill anybody. So it really is just it's a bummer to be without the glowing eyes. And he's missing teeth. Missing teeth, folks. That's a travesty. So you've got an undead corpse that has to gum his food. Doesn't even have gums. He can't even gum his food. I guess he's using whatever few teeth he can. But just imagine you're trying to bite into an apple and it's like half the apple you can't get because you've only got. Anyway, and unfortunately, there's people with teeth like that in real life. So it's really rough. But and speaking of really rough, apparently Marta Slayer is determined to prove me a liar, and also trying to prove just how fun Invade can be to play against. Rumpin, we're all with you, my friend. We all stand with you, believing, hoping, praying that you can pull off the win here against a giant gate, a gaping gate. But he has a belly G and 5 magic after that to work with. So we might see Belly G and then face thing, but don't want to get rid of Dawnfang. Dawnfang would be helpful. We might see the Dawnfang go on to our factotum. And then Cradle Crush. Aha! No, not Cradle Crush. Oh, he can't do Belly G and Dawnfang. Interesting. It's an interesting quandary. I do not envy Rump in his decision here. This is one of those times where it would be really easy to make a bad decision or a decision that loses you the game. He's got a lot of options. The good news, it's great to have options, but it also kind of sucks because it's like, okay, what do I do? What do I do with these options? Craven Constrict isn't great. Flesh Sculpture might be the ticket. The problem is, I think he's got some cards in his hand that he does want to keep around. So that getting rid of that gate is going to help a ton. It didn't used to before the nerf. That just meant the guy had a giant gate ready to come out and be crazy. So luckily that was changed in the nerf, and now that Oblivion Gate is reset to 0, as it should have been from the beginning. But yeah, hear my command and writhe. You say that to a skeleton with not glowing eyes, what do you expect to have happen?
I greet Oblivion with open arms.
Which is a weird turn of phrase because, obviously Oblivion in this particular context, when he's saying it, he means the place. Like the place where all these Daedric critters are from. So he's saying, I welcome Oblivion with open arms. But the other definition of Oblivion that he may not know in the world that he's in, because if Oblivion is a place, then perhaps the word Oblivion does not exist as a descriptor or as a noun, or a different kind of a noun. But Oblivion is a state of not being at all. It's a state of being eradicated. It's a state of death, essentially. So I welcome Oblivion with open arms. Well, he thinks he's saying, welcome foreign Daedra. He is also at the same time saying, welcome death. And I mean, he could be a cult guy. Is he called a cultist? No, Keeper of the Gates. Okay, so Keeper of the Gates, he's probably not anticipating getting nuked. Nice. He says, get that out of here. Get that out of here. So, I mean, this is a prolonged game, but this is what you got to do against Invade. You end up in this drag out war against a deck that really isn't technically control.
White Feral King. I greet Oblivion with open
All the big bodies.
When Lord
Does he have he needs another way to
I won't
get...
need to hide any
Well, no,
longer.
I think he's going to be able to do Dawnfang and start healing up a little bit. So that's going to be good. And Voice of Balance also going to be good. Really, really good, actually. Okay, so Craven Conscript. Take out the gate. I forgot Dawnfang gets its own nice little animation there. So yeah, that's going to be fantastic. And with the Voice of Balance protecting him, he's not going to have to worry about a trade. And yeah, and Rumpin is just like, I want to get this thing over. I mean, you have to starve invaded cards, but I think at this point it's like, okay, I need for him to be thinking defensively. And so there, one rune separates the two. Oh, that was a card I didn't want to see. I mean, it's not as bad on a naked gate, but wait a minute, what? Wait, did it carried? No, I'm missing something. Oh, no, okay, the invasion party. Okay, I forget that it does stupid things. I was like, wait a minute, did he didn't just play that note. It popped out of the ground just that magnificently.
for a new.
All right. What does Rumpin have to change? Well, he's got the win next turn. As long as he doesn't get a prophecy that nukes one of his belly G's, he's got the win. Well, actually, he may only need one to... Oh, you turd. You absolute turd. Wow. Oh, come on, Rumpin. Bring this one home, my friend. Bring it home. Oh, for crying out the heck loud. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 15. He might... Oh, hang on a second. So that gives you 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 19. Nope. Not enough. I mean, he could. Well, and that's the thing. Do you gamble on face sculpture? Do you gamble on mud crab? I mean, unfortunately, you can't win it just by playing all the items. He's just a little bit short, so he's got to. Oh man. See, and this is the thing, folks. This on this side of the board, this is the amount of calculation, the amount of consideration you have to give. Martis, all he has to do is throw a card down on the board. No brain thought whatsoever. Absolutely zero. And that's great. But again, he's got 3. If he was top decking right now, I would feel pretty good if I was Rumpin. But the fact that he still has 3 cards and a giant gate that's going to be spitting out chargers every single play now. All right, come on, Mud Crab. We're going to see Mud Crab. I think maybe, well, no, not at this point. I was going to say Cradle Crush maybe to go against the gate, but I'm surprised we don't see the Mud Crab. Like, why wouldn't, I'm curious why you wouldn't play that now just to get that. See, it's dumb. Dum 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 dum. Autopilot engage.
Succumb to me.
Chandler Bing. Hate your guts.
Succumb to me.
Oh, Rumpin.
When Lord Dagon comes, I won't need to hide any longer.
All right, we can only hope for Mud Crab, right? That's we need Mud Crab, and then I would say Flesh Sculptor. But Rumpin is not deterred. He says, "No, I will find a way." And granted, he's going to be able to do some stuff. Undying Dragon, not bad. Ring of Namira, not good. Ouch. Is he just dead? Yeah. The Flesh Sculptor was a big dud. Didn't give him a guard. Didn't give him removal. Nothing he can really do to change.
It's only illegal if you get
And
caught.
so yeah, his opponent's got exact lethal with the 4 and the 2. And that's going to be it. As much as I hate to leave it on this note, folks, my emotions are a bit frayed. This was just a very sad. This is TESL at its worst. So Martis Slayer, thank you for bringing us true villainy and grief as we mourn one of the many reasons why. Well, TESL isn't being played as much because it's a dead game. Let's be fair, but. Would we have more people playing now than before if we did not have cards or things like this?
Apologies.
Absolutely. Well, at least Martis has the good sense
Was a mistake.
to apologize.
Get away!
Actually, it's just more BM, which is what you come to expect from Invade. PSA, folks. If you love the game, if you love the players, don't invade. But anywho, that's how things go. Even Rumpin' Rufus, as mighty player as he was, as well fought as that was, as patient as he was not able to topple the absolute. I feel like whatever was coming out of my mouth now, I don't know. You remember I talked about my mouth saying things that I don't know what would come out of my mouth right now, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Try not to. Hey, life is good, right, folks? I'm alive, you're alive. I can breathe through both nostrils. Rumpin is still alive. He's still with us. He's going to fight again. And we are going to show more games again in the future, unburdened by what has been. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. My gosh. So regardless of how bad the defeats are, try to remember the victories. Cherish them. Hold them close to your bosom. And until next time, keep playing.